going to move to our invocation and pledge with Tommy Kelleher. Telly?
Ladies and gents, it is Rotary's mission to make sure that we are fair in all of the gambling that we promote. And today, somebody has dropped their raffle ticket. If you don't have your raffle ticket and you have lost it, please go see Tom Holder. He has a loose raffle ticket. All right, very good. You bow your heads, we'll do our invocation, then our pledge. Father, thank you today for gathering today this group, for the good fortune that we all have to be together, and not only that, but to be able to step away from work and focus on something larger than ourselves. We love that we can come here to share our passions and to share our friendships and to promote good things by getting to know one another and going out together and teaming up to get those things done. We ask that you bless the efforts of this club, of the America 250 campaign, of the raffle that we hold, of all the different fundraisers that this club does, that you would be part of all of those things and that you would promote our goodness in the community by promoting the efforts that we serve. We thank you for today's food and for the people who have prepared it for us. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America, and that I love, and beside her, and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean, like a home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
ARY, that spells Rotary. Charlie got us hit with a play ball over there. There you go. Wonderful. All right, moving on. We are one of my favorite parts, the introduction of guests. We have Jennifer. She's going to be doing an introduction of guests today. Jennifer.
Do we have any guests? Can you raise your hands? Over here. Hello. Can you tell us who you are and why are you at Rotary today?
Sure. My name is Mike Rogan. I'm a guest of Tom's. We've lived down here for quite a number of years, and we used to live down here actually, and now I'm Tom's neighbor. So I'm glad he actually invited me to this group. I'm already impressed and quite frankly glad to be around a bunch of people who kind of honor some of the same things I honor. Yeah, I just retired, and I'm looking finally to have an opportunity to be part of a group that actually wants to do, as you said, something bigger than themselves. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right.
Quick and easy. Thank you so much for being here today. All right, a real quick highlight on Coffee with the Rotarians. I know that a group of Rotarians had coffee right before this meeting. Yeah, was it a fun time? Did you get to learn? So I think it was Tommy, Jennifer, and Randy. Hope that you guys learned a little bit more about each other. As a reminder for those who might not know, Coffee with Rotarians is a new little program that we're doing. We're trying to connect 3 to 4 Rotarians for coffee on a monthly basis outside of our meeting to get to know each other a little bit more. We get to know each other quite a lot here in Rotary, but it's, sometimes you can only go so deep between a lunch meeting. So if you're not part of Coffee with Rotarian and you want to be involved with that, please let us know, me or Linda, and we'll get you on the next round. And those who have not met yet, please go ahead and coordinate something in the next week or so. My group is actually meeting tomorrow morning. Looking forward to having coffee. There you go. So thank you for that. All right, a quick service update and announcement with Kevin. No Diamante.
Sorry, guys, I was still in the middle of eating lunch. Couple things coming up. First, the book project, and I see a number of you got the email. Appreciate you bringing books for our ongoing laundry basket project. I'm hoping to find, though, some people that want to lead like 3 months of this, maybe every 3rd or 4th month, take the leadership role in picking up the books from the meeting here and taking them to the location, the drop location. So I'm going to reach out to you individually. If anybody's interested to help, please let me know. Second thing is, in 2 weeks from today, and I'm sure Harrison's going to announce this again, we are not meeting here. We are meeting at the Green Chair Project on their site. We're going to have lunch. compliments. Linda, isn't it a place at the table, correct? Lunch. So please RSVP for this because we don't want to order lunches for people that aren't going to be there. And vice versa, if you are going to be there, we want to make sure we have some food for you. So keep an eye out. The meeting in 2 weeks is at the Green Chair Project. We will eat lunch, we'll have a short presentation, and then I'm going to invite at least some of you guys to stick around and do a service project while we're there. And then lastly, I'll say that it's not too early to announce that this month we will be getting bell ringing. So you will see the sign up for bell ringing probably in your email in a couple weeks, because I want to offer some people the opportunity to sign up early and sign up often. So thank you.
Thank you. And Kevin, before you go, just as an opportunity, those who are not familiar with the Green Chair project, could you give an idea of what that project potentially would look like? They might have multiple different things.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options there. They're part of the team that's providing furniture and other household goods for people that are making a transition into housing. So there's probably, it's hard to estimate, you know, at that moment in time exactly what we'll be doing, but we'll be helping them with processing donations and preparing those for the recipients to receive. So just keep an eye out for that.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate that. All right, moving on, we have a fundraising update. I mean, John, I don't think there's anything else you can talk about with fundraising, right? We've covered everything up to this point, right? Beautiful shirt, by the way.
Thank you, Harrison. I live and breathe fundraising. So hopefully I'll get a few of you inspired too. So glad you're here today. As you can tell, the campaign's going great. I have a few announcements to make. Please make sure to always remember our sponsors, WRL, Duke Energy, North State Bank, and the city of Raleigh. Don't forget these guys. Very important, we have the Veterans Day ceremony next Tuesday, November the 11th, 2:30 in the afternoon at the historic Oakwood Cemetery. I know I've talked this up the last few meetings, but the daughters of the American Revolution, the sons of the American Revolution are going to lead this ceremony. It's going to be extremely respectful and ceremonious. And so we thank the people who have served, will recognize, and for Oakwood Cemetery, they're very excited because it's a new section. The oak tree is going to be a main feature in the new section, and the walk from the monument that sits in the center to the new section. So mark your calendar, please there. I think Linda's sending out the evite later today once we get a couple more things figured out on that. So thank you. The raffle for the steakhouse is on. Talked about it at the front desk that you can just go to the website and the Give Some and buy a raffle ticket. If you've got social media and you can share this and get others to buy a raffle ticket, that would be great. Thank you, James, for getting the gift donated for the campaign. Our Rotarians here have donated enough money to do up to 80 trees. So thank you, Rotarians who've participated so far. Thank you. That's in addition to the sponsorship money. So we're well on our way. Fundraiser by the numbers through October, $43,000, 100 city trees purchased, 80 trees sponsored by Rotarians, and 6 raffle tickets sold. Thank you, Mary Moss, who just walked in the door, for buying raffle tickets. Thank you. And lastly, I invited Harrison to go with me to the governor's mansion this past week to meet with the governor's operation manager as well as the first lady's assistant. And they are super excited for the gift that the Rotary Club of Raleigh is making to the governor's executive grounds in the way of trees, and in particular, a ceremonial America 250 tree. We're working on the details. Most likely, most of these trees will be planted sometime this winter. And then in the spring, when the weather's lovely, we're expecting to have a ceremony at the governor's mansion to dedicate the America 250 tree as well as the other trees. So get excited, get ready to make plans to visit the governor's mansion with Harrison. And we would love you to help. Thank you for all your help and enjoy the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, John. Yeah, make sure, round of applause for John. The foundation. Please make sure to grab an American 250 t-shirt over here. We're writing down names and then we will invoice you out directly afterwards. But that's a great and easy way for you to kind of in the community tell people about what campaign or fundraiser to celebrate America 250 and also to make a lasting impression in the city of Raleigh. And I will say for those in this room that might be thinking to themselves, I am not an extrovert, and going out and talking to somebody about a potential sponsorship does not bring me life. Well, you're in luck. Me, John, as well as the captains love talking to people. So if there's an individual or a business that you know that you think would be a good candidate to help in being a sponsor, let us know. We'll go out and talk with them. Just make the connection, and that's all you've got to do. So don't want you to feel like you have to sell the sponsorships. You've got people that can do that if it's not something that you would say is your strength. But man, great work so far that we're doing on this. All right. And now we have Shake with an upcoming new generation update. I feel like we always get you in the middle of taking a bite of food. I'm so sorry, Shake. Well, come on up. Here you go. There you go. Hey.
Good day, everybody. My name is Sheikh Shakima, for other folks that don't know who I am. And I am the New Generation Chair. And I'm happy to announce that the write-up applications are open. And what that means is that we are sponsoring 11th graders to attend a 3-day camp out in Oxford, North Carolina, to attend our Rotary Youth Leadership Awards Academy camp, where they get the chance to learn leadership, mentorship, and become humanitarian. And of course, definitely have fun. I wish I had some slides, but yes, please keep in mind, they do not have to be Rotary affiliated. Again, I repeat, they do not have to be Rotary affiliated. So if you know any 11th graders that have the interest in being or wanting to learn more about leadership, mentorship, and community service, definitely we have the applications. Just reach out to us and we do the rest. Thank you so much. 11. They have to be 11th graders. Any other questions? Okay. If you have any other questions, by all means, just come on and speak with me. Hopefully I will not have food in my mouth.
Sorry, Shake. I'll start giving you like a notification beforehand. Appreciate all the work you do, though. Thank you so much. All right, moving on. I think it's raffle time. Tommy, we got you for raffle? You're all good, brother.
Yeah. All right, if you bought a raffle ticket, today could be your lucky day. Let's see, we got a lucky winner in here somewhere. And we had a late entry today too. So I always am curious if the late entry wins. It'd be kind of cool. All right, let's go with this one right here. I've got 825985. Tom Holder. Is this the person that doesn't know that they lost their ticket? Okay, so let's stop for a second. So somebody in the room bought a ticket and you don't have your ticket. You won. So please, who doesn't have their ticket?
That's not hard,
Is
guys.
it Surrey maybe? No, Surrey didn't buy today.
Tommy, what would it be if you dropped that 93 and 92?
Who went after you?
Grab me in line right
I don't know. All right, we're gonna pull a fresh one. I think it's only fair. All right, let's go again. Your chances are renewed. If you just lost, congratulations, you might win. All right. 825985. 976. Mr. Mike Brennan.
There we go. Thank you so much. I actually went and grabbed the money. Sorry about that. Wonderful. All right. All right, we're going to have our very own Charlie Upshaw come up for some happy dollars. As a reminder, as always, we have the cart buckets on the table. If you have any spare change, extra dollars, those funds that are in those carts are collected and they go towards Alzheimer's research. I'm going to start us off today with happy dollars. I've got 7 happy dollars for a proud dad moment here. My daughter, she goes to Combs Elementary, and it's a magnet school for leadership. So they do the 7 habits of effective leaders. And so as kindergartners, you are supposed to get 7 star students, which is exhibiting the 7 different layers of leadership. My daughter was the first kindergartner this year to get all 7 of her star students, and she was highlighted in the school news, and they had her on the TV. It was wonderful. It was a very proud dad moment. So for her reaching her 7 habits, I'm donating $7.
Wow, way to go. Thank you, President Harrison. That's great. My wife texted me on the way in and said, "Are you doing happy dollars today?" I said, "I don't know." She said, "Well, how about throwing $1 in the pot this weekend?" Her local chrysanthemum group that is mums is having their flower show at the fairgrounds. And these are not the mums you get at Logan's or the Fresh Market. These are super duper fertilized, pretty fancy mums. So thanks for helping me out. You guys asked your wives and girlfriends, go to the mum show, or at least tell them that I told you about it. Thanks for that. Who's Tom? James. There we go.
Got a happy 5. Over the years, I've run 6 half marathons and never felt like my body would be strong enough to do a full. But when I turned 62 in August, I said, I got to check it off my bucket list. So I ran it yesterday, City of Oaks, and came in
Yeah, her daughter, saying, what if instead of traveling the world, we created a place where people could come and see her in action? Because people are always saying, when can I see you? When can we see you? Where can we see you? And the best thing we can do is, oh, there's a place in Hawaii that really doesn't work. Most people don't want to travel to Hawaii for that reason. They want to look for other things. And so we created the Snow Approach Foundation in Hillsborough in 2022. We started in a 10 by 10 office across from the fire department. Then we got that little white building right there, and then right next door, a former furniture store became a building with 6,000 square feet, where we run engagements, opportunities, training, consultations every day or twice a week, and so much more. What is the Snow Approach? So Tifa Snow, you may have actually heard her name and not realized it, because she's been in the news a lot. She was brought out to work with Bruce Willis and his family a few times. And so his wife has been doing interviews with Diane Sawyer or Winfrey, and she talks about Tifa Snow quite a bit. And Tifa and Amanda actually went up to New York to watch her speak, and it was really funny to see everyone fawning over her mom. And then I'm seeing Tifa in the front row and fangirling over her. That's just the effect that Tifa has. She started off, well, I know we have a Wolfpack here. She's both a Blue Devil and Tar Heel. She graduated from Duke, never left the area, was the first graduate of UNC occupational therapy program. And I can say that confidently because she was part of the first class, and she was the only one who graduated at that time. So she graduated, and she's had 45 plus years of experience in the field of occupational therapy with a focus on atypical brains, dementia, kids with special needs, traumatic brain injuries. And so she would be the first person to tell you that when she did things by the book, she was torturing people. Holding them down to make sure they were showered, force feeding, anything like that. And she thought, there's gotta be a better way. I need to be better about this because I can't keep doing this anymore. So through those 45 years, she's developed what we call the Snow Approach to help people understand what is dementia versus what most of the world thinks it is. Second, how does it progress? How does it change over the course of time? And then third, but maybe most importantly, what can we do to them? The people that are living with dementia, their brains are changing and they don't get a choice. We are the ones that get to choose. Will we make the choice to change our approach, to connect with them and support them in a way that works for them versus us asking them to be what we want them to be? So, common questions. What is dementia? And is dementia kind of like Alzheimer's? And I'm curious, I'm going to actually ask you a question because I can't talk the whole time. Does anybody know the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? Yes, sir.
Is dementia a symptom of Alzheimer's?
Is dementia a symptom of Alzheimer's? That's a good question. I will not, well, I'll just say no. It's a great question, but it's a very common question. But no, you know, it's very honest to me. Yes, sir.
Dementia, the broad category.
That is one. Did you see my slides? That is 100% correct. So Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. Is it okay? Now I'm going to test you. You said it's a broad category. Do you know how many different types of dementia there are? Anybody have a guess? How many types of dementia do you think we currently know? 30? Two.
Shot.
2? Much higher than that. Higher than 30. 45. Keep going. So I feel like I'm doing an auction here. Got 45. I see 50. We actually know of 125 different types, forms, and causes of dementia. So as Joan said, dementia is what we call an umbrella term. It refers to all forms, types, and causes of things that are causing brain changes. The most well-known is obviously Alzheimer's, but we have different types of Alzheimer's. We also have the frontotemporal dementias, which is what Bruce Willis is living with. Lewy body dementia, which is actually the second most commonly diagnosed behind Alzheimer's, often misdiagnosed as Parkinson's. Vascular dementia, and then full. What does it take for something to be a dementia? For something to be classified as dementia, at least two parts of the brain are actively dying. It is chronic. It will get worse. There is no current cure or prevention that we know about. And it's fatal. But to be honest, life is fatal. No one's getting out of this thing alive. So the idea is, how do we learn to live with this? Well, first, we need to know kind of what to expect. So you'll see up here we have on the screen, we have the more popular ones, Alzheimer's, Lewy body vascular, and frontotemporal, and they have very different symptoms. They have some commonalities with very different symptoms. So how do you support someone living with that, where they have multiple very different people with different diagnoses? Now, I talked about atypical brains. This is actually a PET scan of what we would say are typical brains. The person on the left is a 20-year-old, and the person on the right was 80 years old at the time of this. What do you notice? Similarities, differences? Pretty similar, aren't they? Typical brains, while those of us that are getting to a certain age, will slow down. That's just life. You reach your peak at about 25. That's when your brain is working the fastest. You don't have the experience to really use it a lot of times, but that's when your brain is working the fastest. If you live a healthy life and you don't develop dementia or anything else like that, your brain will work almost as well at 75 or 80 as it did at 25. Now just take it a little more sometimes. Now let's look at some changes. That's the same type of scan. Now the person on the left is just normal adult, normal aging. And the second one, the one in the middle there, is someone in the early states of Alzheimer's. Now again, I'll ask, what are some of the things you see? Similarities, differences? A lot more purple than one, yeah. So for those of you like me that did not go to medical school and don't know what different colors mean, when you see the bright red, that's your brain burning fuel real fast. It's working real hard, it's doing a great job. The yellowish and the orange, it's on the highway, but it's not cruise control, it's just doing a good job. Once we get to the light green, that's more like a school zone, 25 miles an hour, it's going. Light blue, engines running, but you're in front. By the time you get to the purple, those are actually holes. Mileage road, you do have holes in your head. But those are important holes. That's where your cerebrospinal fluid actually cleans out your brain, particularly at night. Your brain squeezes, gets rid of the bad stuff. And so that when you wake up, you feel healthy, brain actually recharges. Now you'll notice as we move farther to the right, it becomes more purple and less red. So at the bottom, on your clavicle. So the bottom of your brain is actually, if we were laying down like this, so the bottom is the back of your head, top is the front. The bottom doesn't change a whole lot from first to the second, but the top really does. And we're going to get into why in just a moment, but this front part is the last part of your brain to develop. And it's often the first part to be affected. And once we get over to the far side, there's not a lot other than right in the middle. Yeah. We saw the inside of the brain. Let's go ahead and take a look at the outside of the brain. Now, these two brains came from gentlemen that were the same age, roughly the same size, same head circumference. The difference was the gentleman on the left died in a car accident with a healthy brain. The gentleman on the right died after living with dementia for 20+ years. What do you notice?
A lot of gap.
Radically different. In what way? Smaller. Less dense, so. Different color, bigger holes. Center more defined, yeah. So when someone's living with dementia, their brain will start to change chemically first and then physically. So by the time someone has lived with dementia long enough, they will lose 2/3 and be left with 1/3 of the brain that was dead. Now that is a lot to try to run this whole up. And that's what brain does, is it truly runs your entire body. And so we can look at this and we can say, wow, that's really sad. Or we can look at it and say, oh, that's what they're still figuring it out. They can still do things. They still have abilities. How can I use that? How can I use what they have to make sure they are living their life instead of simply waiting to die? Because someone living with dementia can live with it from anywhere from 6 months to 30 years. And oftentimes the diagnosis comes with, you have dementia, you should go home and get your affairs in order. Then that's it. You don't hear from the neurologist again. They're not given therapy programs. They're not given anything to do. It's just go home, get your affairs in order, and figure it out. What we want to do is, at 6 months to 30 years, we want to help people learn how to live. How do we still enjoy the life? How do we, instead of looking at it as a death sentence, what if we look at it as a long-term, never-changing disability? What accommodations, what changes do we need to make? Still be able to do all the things that we love. So the Snow Approach Foundation. Why do we do this? Why do we have this place in those groups? The first thing is, all right, let's get to myself. What are the first thoughts that come to your mind when you hear dementia? Either someone's living with it or someone's father.
Fear.
Fear, yeah.
Person you knew fading away.
The person you knew is fading away.
It's sad.
And it's sad. Mhm.
What needs to be done for the safety of the patient?
What needs to be done for the safety of the person? Yes. So a lot of times we hear exactly that. Suffering, memory loss. They're fading away. They're not who they used to be. They get behaviors. They're aggressive. They're combative. Or it's just sad. No. I can never tell if someone is suffering or not. It's not my job to say whether they're suffering or not. We tend to build a lot of humor in this, so please don't take this the wrong way, but I'm a Lions fan that is suffering 50 years. You know, people have happy times. Every team I root for lost this weekend, and I would love to contribute to one of them. But the thing is, when we actually start to learn about what's happening, a lot of these things can be understood differently. And that's what we want to do, is we want to reduce the stigma that comes along with dementia. Things are changing, but they can be dealt with. How do we understand what changes will happen? We'll get to that in just a moment. How do we learn to adapt to a new life and learn to live, laugh, and love again? We have a gentleman, his name is Vic. His wife Cynthia is living with dementia, and he will be the first time he was tearing him apart. You know, he was just, things were changing. His wife wasn't who she once was, and he didn't know how much longer he could take it. And honestly, one of the biggest things that happens is a lot of times when you're caring for someone living with dementia, the caregiver is the one who goes first. They lose that will to live, they lose that drive. He started coming to Snow, she started to learn some of the stuff I'll share with you today. And he was able to stand up last year when we had this luncheon and say he's more in love with his wife now than he's ever been in his life. They broke apart and he learned to see her as a person, whereas what all he used to see was her dementia. And she would look at him and he's hating the dementia and she thought he hated her. And now he can be there with her and supporting her. It makes such a difference. All right. Pop quiz. How many brains do you have in your head? You'll notice there's one answer that's not there because it's not a choice. Two?
Zero.
Zero. That's only the people who believe in your submission.
About
We actually have 3 distinct brains in our head. 3. Now, the first one, you're born with. It's your primitive brain. So you have your primitive brain. Now, it controls, tied into the limbic system. It's your amygdala, your hippocampus, your thalamus, and hypothalamus. Takes care of the stop, swallow, breathing, and heart rate. Things you don't have to think about when you just do. Now your amygdala, you have two amygdala, no amygdala. They have three very important jobs. The first, threat receiver. What is out there that is threatening to me? Second is needs me. I'm hungry, I eat. I'm cold, I find warmth. I'm thirsty, I drink. And the last one is pleasure seeking. What can I do to enjoy this? The cow out there is calling me right now. And the fried chicken that I should have is delicious. So that's my amygdala, making choices like that. Now my hippocampus, which if we went back a few slides, you'd see that's the center of your brain, which is still firing with the energy of the amygdala. Hippocampus is connected to that, and it also has three main jobs. First part is learn, remember what I learned. Second is wavelength, can I get from here to there, to there, to there, to back to where I was. So if we were to all get up and go out there and come back, almost every single one of you go to exactly where you're sitting right now. Whether you sit there every week or not, that's just what we do. We tend to go back to home base. And the third part is time awareness. How long has it been since? How long has it been since I told you that story? How long has it been since I asked you that question? How long has it been since I shot? How long has it been since I was 15 years old? And it's kind of like when that starts to go, that's where we get into the whole memory loss thing. It's like somebody put a scissor to a timeline of your life, cut it up, and just threw it up. And you just kind of pick one up and say, oh yeah, I remember that. That's where I am right now. So that is your primitive brain. Then you have what we call our cortical, or thinking brain, that's the top part. And the front part right there, if you remember, that's the part I said develops last, is off the first loss. Right there. Last part to develop. When do we fully develop that?
25.
25. Not for you, for her. Women will develop that around 25 years old. Men, 30, if ever. Which is why once you hit that age, you realize when you were a teenager, your parents were a lot smarter than you were making incredible. Is you can actually see someone else's point of view. You can look at yourself accurately and realize, wow, that's not a good idea. You can make choices of, should I have another piece of coffee or should I go home and just go for a walk? These are the types of upper level thinking that your prefrontal cortex is responsible for. I can start something, sequence through the steps, finish it, move on to something else. Those are the types of things that, when dementia hits, that's your prefrontal cortex. The white stuff in the middle, that's the wiring. That's what connects it to the rest of the brain. And the outer rim, that's our storage. That's our cloud habit. If you're living with dementia, it looks like that. Impulse control is one of the biggest things right there. This is called our prefrontal. When I talk about frontal temporal dementia, we talk about, I mentioned Bruce Willis, the ability to say, see something and have a thought in your head and hold it and say, you know what? I shouldn't say that right now. You lose that. So once this part is affected, as soon as the thought comes in your mind, you say it. So Bruce Willis would be driving down the road, see a pretty girl, roll down his window and start calling out to her. And it's not about the more you see something, you kind of lose the words and you say, who looks at what that fat man over there was? It's like, no, I don't see it. Realize that, a few more minutes. So, yeah, hippocampus, if this is what it looks like at that time, that's where it is now. Our temporal lobes, we have a left temporal lobe and a right temporal lobe. So if you were to take your fingers, put them in and shove it, do that. Shove them in, you can touch your temporal lobes. On the left-hand side, it has three big jobs. Understanding what people say, vocabulary, and speech production. Now, what changes is not hearing. A lot of times we think it's a hearing issue, but it's not, because the hearing is actually the big medium tube right. The hearing, the physical act of hearing doesn't change, but our ability to understand language does. The first thing you lose are nouns, people, places, and things. I'm important in the conversation. Next is consonants. Consonants are hard to drive and fast. You only need to hear the blow out, blow out. So even though I'm talking like this, then I'm talking on my head. All right. All right, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna take it out, okay? I'm gonna take it out again, okay? Yeah, okay. So I just said, we're gonna go over there and take a shower, I'm gonna take off the pants, okay? You know, I give the answer, I'm wondering if you guys, I'm a nice guy, I'm helping you, Harrison. I know better than you, and I'm helping you. But that's what happens a lot of times, and then when I go to reach for his belt, the next thing he's gonna do is step away. He's gonna have a few other thoughts, but he's got a frontal cortex. So he's not gonna say the things he was thinking or take a swing. When someone's living with dementia, that might not be the case. And then we get to label them as aggressive or resistant to care because we're the ones that get to write it up. And he said yes. He didn't understand what I said. So language changes are huge. And so we work on how do we express ourselves, how do we communicate and go. Now the right temporal lobe is actually less effective. We have language on the left, rhythm on the right. We lose on the left, retain on the right. Now the right temporal lobe actually does have a little bit of vocabulary. But those are the words that hold on to the words over there that when you set up your mom said, I better never hear you say that again. Your brain stores those in a different spot. But once I'm living with dementia, I go over here and I look for a word and I can't find it. Oh, here's the word that'll work. My mom never would have said that before. She's heard it. She's not trying to be like, but that's the word that she got. We also have a turn taking, so I can keep the conversation, I can keep social chit chat. Can't have any conversation, social chit chat, but we also have music, poetry, prayer, and counseling. You'll find people that can't talk will still be able to sing. They can't walk, can dance, because it taps into the rhythm. Move a little quicker here, because I know I'm taking my time. This part here's your motor shoulder. So if you were to take like a slice out of the middle of your brain, almost like a slice of toast, that is a map of your entire body. When you stub your toe, you know you stubbed your toe and it hurts. But if that signal isn't making it, we've seen people try to walk on broken legs because they don't know what's wrong. They know something's not right, they don't know what's wrong. So those are big changes there. And the last part is, and I'm going to ask you to do something, but you need to be careful of your hands. The last part is your vision. Your occipital lobe is on the back. So what happens is you have two eyes. Each one takes in a 2D image. Your brain lines them up, flips them upside down, so we can see in 3D. Now again, 18 and 25, we can put our hands up 180 degrees, wiggle our fingertips, and we can see. As our brain starts to slow down, our brain says, that's too much data. I don't need all that. So we start to lose peripheral vision. By the time you're 75, most of us are about here. We've lost this much. And that's simply, it's nothing wrong. That is natural aging. That is your brain. That's like using an old phone or an old laptop. It just slows down. Because the most important for us here. By the time we're talking about the middle one, with a scuba mask, 2C, that's what you see. Middle states, put binoculars. You put binoculars on, can't see your shit. So that's the visual field that most people are working with once they get middle stage of dementia. Now, there's two really popular dementia rating scales out there. One is the Allen Cognitive Scale, the other is the Global Deterioration Scale. I really want the deterioration scale, but that's what it's called. What's really confusing is one starts at 1 is the best, 6 is the worst. The other one, 7 is the best, 1 is the worst. Really confusing. And all they can do is tell you what you can't do. Tifa wanted to change that. So she created the GEMS, where we talk about different levels of ability. Again, this was created with people living with dementia in mind, but it really applies to all of us. We should realize our brains change throughout the day. I am not the same person in the morning that I am in the afternoon, that I am towards dinner, I can be very different. Sad why we talk about being true, you can support other people. Now, I will be the first to tell you, I live in a dying state. I like things the way I like them. I wake up, I have my coffee, I do this, I do that. My schedule changes if I am thrown off. I can light up a room, or I can be cutting, just like a diamond. All right. So I apologize, I spend too much time in one place. I'm trying to wrap up so we can get you all out of here. The sad thing is right now, when it comes to dementia, supporting people living with dementia, there are 0 federal regulations when it comes to it. People don't have to be trained. You think, oh, I'm going into a medical here, they know dementia. They don't. Most people require, or states require absolutely 0 hours of training. Now, some people will require training, but not watching a video is okay. So when I hear people are doing training by video, my first question is, great. I just watched this great video on how to draw blood. I've got the needles right here. Can I try it on you? You gonna say yes to that? So I watched Top Gun the other day. Pretty sure I can fly this plane. You guys did? We need hands-on training. That's what we do. Now, the biggest thing is, and I use Harrison as an example, is without permission, it's not really care. Care only happens when both people are involved. So we refer to them as care partners, not caregivers. Because I can give care all day. If Harrison doesn't want to be around, it's not going to happen. So if I force it, it's no longer care, it's no longer use. And if I just say, hey, Harrison, you want to go take a shower? And he says, no, and I say, okay, even though it's been 2-3 weeks, I'm neglect. So how do we communicate with people that we can work with them to meet their needs so that they can enjoy life, but also maintain a relationship? And that's what we really focus on. So we talk about using the compass. First thing we need to do is prepare. What is it we're going to do? What do I need? What the props do I need for it? How do I initiate? Then I need to pause and evaluate. Is this going the way I thought? Is everyone enjoying this? If so, yes, I will sustain. If not, I need to switch. Now, this is the quote that went viral a while ago that Tipa said. It says, dementia does not rob someone of their dignity. It's our reaction to them that does it. As soon as we start feeling sad for them, label them as suffering, label them as less, they're going to start to feel that. But if we can raise our status and our approach and build that relationship so that they can continue to live regardless of what's happening, they get to be the person that they want to be. It may not be exactly what they planned, but that's what they got. So what do? We offer an engagement opportunity for anywhere from 20 to 70 people every week, twice a week, Monday afternoons and Friday morning. People with dementia, family caregivers, volunteers. We also do education, skills training. First 2 Tuesdays of the month, we offer hands-on skills consultations for families and individuals. We provide a safe, inclusive community where all brains are good. So many people, they're scared. They don't want people to judge them. And we want to change them. We want people to come together and proud of who they are, and proud of the efforts they're making. And we don't charge for anything. Everything is done on a complimentary basis because we never want money to get in the way of true support. If people are able to make donations, yes, they can pay the bills, but we never want the money to get in the way. So everyone has access to this, and if not, I can make them available. You can go to tpsnow.com or snowlords.org. We have a lot of resources. And the one last thing I'll leave you with is 20 years ago, Tipa and her colleague, sorry, this link isn't active. I haven't put it on the website yet. It will be. But Tipa and her colleague, Melanie Budman, created this video called Accepting the Challenge. Through a grant with Dementia Alliance in North Carolina, they've updated it, and it's now free for everyone living in North Carolina. If you simply go to acceptingthechallenge.org, it's an incredible resource. Every videos are broken down into these 12-minute clips. You'll see Tipa and Melanie working on people living with dementia, and then come back and talk about a lot of what I said in the movie. And it's an amazing resource. I cannot recommend it. Okay, sorry, I've taken up too much time, but if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to do my best to answer or make sure I get the information. Acceptingthechallenge.org. Yes, sir.
Yeah, other than sleep, are there things that folks can do to minimize?
Yes, great question. Other than sleep, are there things folks can do to minimize? You can reduce risk by doing the things we all know we should do. Sleep right, eat well, exercise, socialize, very importantly. One of the worst news I ever heard is that the best thing you can do is dancing with a partner. It's something I do not dance. And my wife was very excited, like, dancing with, being social, playing games with friends, getting out, exercising, doing all that sort of can reduce the risk. Obviously, eating healthy, whole foods, all those things. Yes, sir. But there, unfortunately, there's no way to prevent. We can reduce risk. We can slow progression. But as of now, there is no cure. Much as I hope there is one soon, we don't see one coming anytime soon. Yes, sir.
The rates of dementia, they increased over time, gone down. Where is it, and how far back do we have data on that?
It's increasing for a few reasons. We're testing it more. It's not just an Alzheimer's disease or Brown's disease or whatever. We are learning more about it. And so what used to be considered midlife crisis might be frontotemporal dementia. So we are learning more, but also people are living longer. And the biggest risk factor is age. Once you get, I think it was 65 or 75, you got a 50% chance of getting it. And every year you older, you have the risk goes up. So between people living longer and you have medications to fix just about everything else, that's the one area to figure out. Yes, sir.
Should only people experiencing symptoms be tested?
That's a great question. Should only people who experience symptoms be tested? No. We actually run a baseline cognitive testing at Snow Approach. Because if we don't know where we started, we wouldn't know if something changed. And so the testing we do is actually kind of fun. I wouldn't do it, but kids have done it, well done. But the first thing is, this is something you don't have to come to us to do, you can do it on your own. Find someone you trust, you're comfortable with. And what you do is you set a minute timer. You name as many animals as you can in 1 minute. You know, if you repeat yourself, then the person is marking it. They said this, then you do a duplicate account, or if you go off on a tangent, and then you do, or then there's mapping, or drawing a clock. Say, let's say I want you to get an analog clock, which kids are gonna have trouble with coming up. It's not an analog clock. But, you know, show me 2:37 on the clock. Can you draw that? Or mapping, it's kind of like connect the dots, but instead of drawing a picture, you have to go from 1 to A to 2 to B to 3 to C, and you've got to find it without lifting up your pencil. How many of those can you do? When you go to the doctor, a lot of times they'll give the mini modal, which is what day is it, what year is it, who's the president, what the month is it, where are we, what state are we in the street or what? Things you can kind of study. And so also our brains know when we're in trouble, and it's going to go to the nth degree to make sure that you test well. So a lot of times people like they go to the doctor, they do great. The person with them is like, they're never like this in all fight. Oh, this is don't live with them. You will see this is not enough. Whereas this is something you can do that's a little more casual. You get better results that way. So I would suggest doing things like that before even, because getting into a neurologist, we've got people that have tried to do it. It's a 2 to 4 year process. Even then, a lot of times it's like, they could be. So we like to get based on that.
Yeah, so there are a lot of under ways that these as these lives they can certify how they will care for people.
Great question. Yes, we're actually doing that right now. So yes, if business owners can be certified, and yes, you do not have to work in memory care or home health or anything like that. The idea is we have dementia-friendly businesses. We want to take it one step further. We don't want you to just accept people with dementia. We want you to be able to communicate and support them. If someone comes in and presents differently, how can you support them, whether they don't know why they're there or they just don't know how to ask for what it is they want? And so we offer, again, that free training, where we can actually run to as well. And then we become snow approach certified.
Thank you so much. Deep in complex topic and presenting it in a way that really opened my eyes to a lot of things that I didn't know. Also, the way that you guys approach things with individuals that are dealing with this, you're bringing back their humanity and their dignity, which is huge work. So I appreciate that. Thanks. And one thing that we want to provide you as a parting gift is our Rotary Club Raleigh coffee mug. On the back has our 4-way test. Love to present that to you and your team. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, parents with that, if you please stand and talk to Joe. I'm asking you to lead us out the 4-week test today, sir.
Before we test the things, what do you think? Say and do.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair talk and serve?
Third.
Build goodwill, better friendships, be beneficial to all concerned.